Alright, hello everyone. This is TurboStew, and joining me is Fen Hotsauce.
Hey.
Today we are doing a review of Dragon Ball Super Broly, but we're also playing a video game while reviewing it. I don't know if this has been done before, but I figure let's give it a try and see how it works out. This will be like an interesting review thing on a Saturday morning. It'll be a Saturday morning review thing.
That's so smart.
That's what we'll call it. We'll call it SMRT. SMRT, the Saturday morning review thing. That's how it's spelled, right? Homer would never lie to us.
Ignore that he corrects himself a second later.
Yeah, but yeah.
How dare you not have all the characters unlocked?
Because I actually haven't played that much on this PS4. I've only played on my other one. That's probably why. But, yeah. So what's interesting about this review, as you're going to find out, is that Fen here has actually never really seen Dragon Ball. He watched, you said you've seen one other movie, right?
Yeah, I've seen Resurrection F.
Other than that, like, your knowledge of Dragon Ball mostly comes from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Is that correct?
Honestly, I would say my knowledge of Dragon Ball mostly comes from Resurrection F and Broly now. Since I haven't seen that much of the Abridged.
Okay, yeah. So it's kind of funny because I took you and 5 other people to go see this. One of those other people being, again, someone else who has never seen it. I don't know if she wants us to use her name, so I won't. But what was so funny is halfway through the movie, she whispers to Megan and I. She's like, "Is it weird that I find Broly really hot?" And I'm just kind of like, I found Kale, she's a character from the show, kind of like the female version of Broly, essentially. I'm like, I found her really attractive, so no, it's not weird at all.
Maybe you're just both weird.
Yeah, there is, maybe, actually. I'll just do random music, because I don't remember any of the soundtrack on here.
I'm Team Goku.
Yeah, so to give you context, so you saw the abridged version of Broly, right? The one by Team 4-Star. So as funny as it was, it's actually not too inaccurate to what happened in the original version. So basically, in the original Broly, yes, his reasons for hating Goku was that Goku cried a lot as a kid, and it's one of those things where fans know that Broly is such a dumb character, but it's hard not to like Broly because he looks so cool. I think Vegeta said it the best. It's that's so dumb, but he's so cool looking. Yeah,
but that's so dumb.
Essentially, Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z and Bridge was what all the fans were basically with it. I don't remember the controls at all, so I guess we'll find out together.
I don't know how common this is. I assume a lot of people do it, but if I haven't played a fighting game, I basically just immediately start trying to Hadouken and stuff. I just assume it plays like Street Fighter, and then figure out the differences from there.
Yeah. All right.
Hadouken!
Hadouken!
I do like that the Kamehameha is the Hadouken.
Oh, wait. Oh, plays like the Hadouken? That's awesome.
Hadouken!
Hadouken! Oh, damn it, I can't do it. It's not working for me. It doesn't love me. Oh, damn.
You can't properly Hadouken.
Bro, do you even Hadouken? But yeah, no, so with Akira Toriyama, the original creator of Dragon Ball, so he had technically no involvement in the creation of Broly other than he supposedly, although I'd never heard confirmation from him about this, but I've heard online that he apparently was the one who designed Broly's character. He designed the character, but he didn't write any of the movie itself. So it was kind of interesting when basically for this film he decided to take Broly but have his own kind of spin on it, kind of like what he did at the beginning of the movie with the character Bardock. So that was ripped from a manga that Akira Toriyama wrote, which in itself was kind of based on a TV movie that wasn't created by him. But basically Bardock, the father of Goku, was a anime original character, never in the manga, until later when Akira Toriyama loved him so much he wanted to have his own version of him.
Yeah.
then thus we get the really popular TV movie Bardock, the father of Goku. And what was cool about this movie is it kind of combined both Dragon Ball Minus, which was his version of Bardock, and it combined it kind of with the anime version of it too, because they don't show what happens, but they do show that he did try to fight back against Frieza right before Frieza destroyed Vegeta, so that was pretty sick. It was cool, like, just seeing all this stuff that has been done before in Dragon Ball, but seeing, like, kind of Akira Toriyama's take on it, just like with Broly. And with Broly, he is essentially a completely different character in this movie than he was in the original. Like, in the original, he literally had no motivation. He was just kind of angry for the sake of being angry. And I say no motivation because I'm sure, like, someone's going to correct me and be like, well, what about the fact that, Vegeta's dad tried to, like, kill him as a child? It's like, yeah, but that wasn't why he was always angry. What I love about this, though, is I do love his thing of, like, he's not necessarily that bad, but he has, like, this poisoned mind from his dad, basically, of just being raised on, hey, you should want to kill Vegeta. Vegeta's a terrible person, so he grows up with this whole idea of revenge, basically, and his dad training him specifically just for revenge and nothing else. So that was a really cool dynamic on the character, a lot different from the original, but a really awesome change, I think. And then, man, what did you think of the animation, though?
The animation with the fight scene was amazing. With the rest of it was just kind of, it's there, it works, it's fine.
Okay, yeah.
But the fight, the ending fight was fantastic.
Oh my god, the ending fight.
More ways than one.
The fight, I think, is definitely the highlight of the film for most people.
Except for the end of the fight.
Wait, the what?
Except for the end of the fight.
In
case anyone hasn't seen it.
Oh, yeah, like he just disappears.
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay.
Well, I mean, we already have kind of spoiled enough, so...
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll just put spoiler in the titles so that no one clicks on it, and is surprised by this, but yeah. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's just, it's an amazing fight. Everything's, like, working out to the point, like, they're going to win, they're going to beat him, and then, like, they basically beat him, but... They don't get the final hit on him. He just kind of gets wished away.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but that's not satisfying.
Which I was okay with. The one thing, and I can't argue with is that, some people are probably going to complain, like, literally nothing got accomplished in this film, which is like, literally nothing at all. Because... with the exception of the fact that the Dragon Balls now can't be used for another year, you pretty much got Broly back on the same world that he was before. Although I guess you could say now there is an accomplishment because now they have like a new ally if they potentially ever need him.
Yeah.
Although, knowing Goku and Vegeta and their stubbornness, they're probably gonna never like use them unless it's like a last resort type of thing. But it's kind of cool knowing that since he doesn't die, he could theoretically be a reoccurring character, so that'd be cool to see.
And you do have Goku like trying to keep an active relationship with him.
Yeah, that was awesome at the end. And
throughout the movie, I was just knowing from the abridged version that he just hated Goku. I was expecting him to hate Goku in this, and as soon as they brought out like, oh yeah, don't touch this thing. It's my old pet's ear, and I have very sentimental values toward it. I'm like, oh, Goku's gonna damage that, isn't he?
Oh my god, that would have been fucking hilarious.
And then it's like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want to Vegeta, but don't you dare touch Goku. I'm like, yeah, Goku's gonna hurt the cloth, and then Broly's just gonna immediately go after Goku and not stop. That didn't happen though, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, actually, now that you bring that up, that's kind of funny. I never thought of that, but yeah, that is one way they could have done the whole thing with him being like, doing the whole Kakarot thing where he's just so pissed off, all he says is Kakarot.
on one hand, I'm glad they didn't, just because like it seemed like the most obvious thing they could have done. On the other hand, I'm also, I'm a little disappointed. Everything just kind of went normally.
I will say this.
And it just makes like the whole like setup with like, oh yeah, he's got this weird lion claw thing and it's important, but they don't really go back to it. Like it doesn't like lessen the item itself, but like why did they bother giving a backstory to it? They didn't really need it given they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I can see that. But now I keep thinking, like, yeah, that actually would have been a really funny way. I did love, though, so, like, in the original, and, you know, it was kind of like in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. In the original version, what happens is, like, Brawly, like, is just so pissed off anytime he's, like, even near Goku. So, like, all he says is, basically Kakarot over and over, like, really loudly. And, One thing I really love is that he didn't do that throughout the whole film until, like, the very end. Even then he didn't say it. I just love that thing where Goku's just like, oh, just call me Kakarot. That was really funny. Although it was weird. Like, I've never... it's actually the first time I think Goku ever referred to himself as Kakarot in the entire series. I think you have to choose this one.
Oh. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's, like, literally never called himself by his Saiyan name before. That was kind of... so, yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Where does Son Goku come from?
Oh, that's just... in Japan, they just call him Son Goku. It's just that in the English dub, it's just changed to Goku.
Left it in for... Well, I don't know. I see it as Son Goku, like, even in this game.
Yeah. Well, like...
He says, I'm Son Goku.
Yeah, sometimes. It depends on which, like... dubbing. I know, like, in the original Ocean dub, and I think for the most part, the Funimation dubs usually just refer to him as Goku.
Like, is it an honorific, or what is it?
I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't want to sound culturally insensitive in case I'm wrong, but I think it's just, you know, kind of common way to name, or not very common, but, you know, I think it's just a very Japanese name with having the San in the very beginning of it, I think. If I'm wrong about that, I am sorry. But
personally, I only know it with Goku, but I also can't claim to be an expert on Japan.
Yeah. It's also with Gohan as well. People sometimes call him Son Gohan. But yeah, in the manga, like, that's all they call him by is Son Goku. I don't know why. Gohan feels very clunky here. Let's try Kid Gohan, see if he's any better.
Krillin feels like the game's playing him for me, practically. I'll hit, like, 2 buttons and he's going off on a combo. It's kind of funny. I picked him just for the joke, because he's one of the ones that, as far as I'm aware, is one of, like, the weakest.
He is one of the weaker ones, but he's not, like, as weak as... like the internet says he is.
There's a lot of jokes about Yamcha, that's why I chose him.
Oh, yeah. No, oh my god, it's like so funny. In Dragon Ball Super, it's like they're almost just self-aware of the internet in that show, because they have this whole thing where they're going to the Universe of Power and they need to gather some of the best warriors, and Yamcha's like, alright, I can't wait for them to ask me to join. In fact, I should just, like, play it cool, turn them down at first, and then show up last minute. And, like, it's so funny, you find out, like, right before they're leaving, they're like, oh yeah, we didn't even think of Yamcha. Although I will give it this, at least Yamcha, so Dragon Ball finally had a baseball episode, and at least
that it took them this long.
At least Yamcha, because it was explained earlier in the show that he actually did do baseball professionally, so he was like the one kind of leading the team. So he did kind of have his own episode, which was cool.
At least he was useful.
It also led to him getting the shit kicked out of him by fuck, I don't even remember. I want to say it was because, like, Beerus, like, threw a baseball at him or something. No, I think it was Champa, who's, like, the god of destruction of Universe 6. Either way, yeah, it's like, yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him at the end, and it's, like, really funny because he's, like, passed out on the ground, and he's in the exact same position he was in when he died, like, back in Season 1. And someone, I think, like, someone just comments, man, this looks familiar for some reason. Also, one thing that was kind of funny is they mention the Universe of Power, which was the arc that happened right before the movie, essentially, and it's how Frieza came back to life. What I thought was kind of funny though is
third Vegeta.
No third Vegeta, at least not yet. I think there's one you can unlock. Is there? Oh yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, there's one. There's like a
there's one here
looking Vegeta.
But what was kind of funny...
And there's a fourth Goku.
There is. And there's a Gogeta. Or, sorry, Vegito. What was I saying?
Sounds like a cheesy snack. Or actually, maybe just a chip, a Vegito.
A Vegito. Actually, yeah, it sounds like a type of potato chips. Oh my god, why are we doing marketing for Toei
Let's
Animation?
make Vegetos.
No, it sounds like
we'll make an onion chive potato chip called Vegetos.
Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, you should make a cereal called Vegetos. Or Vegetos.
No, there'll be Cool Ranch flavored Cheerios. Called Vegetos.
So getting back to like the Universal, the survival arc, or the Universal Power basically arc. They in Universe 6 they meet a Saiyan who basically is almost just like Brawly in the sense where she basically powers up and then she suddenly becomes like super ripped and looks just like Brawly. What was kind of weird about Dragon Ball Super Brawly is it taking place right after that. It's kind of interesting that they don't mention her, although I think the two types of power-ups that they have are very different. I think what was funny is obviously like you probably wouldn't have caught this, you not knowing Dragon Ball at all, but in Dragon Ball GT, there's a form called Super Saiyan 4, and in that form, it basically lets you unlock the power of the Great Ozaru, which is, the great ape that they become when they look at a full moon. So it lets you unlock that power, but without having to turn into the ape, and that's called Super Saiyan 4. But what's interesting is that that's the exact power that they kind of mentioned that Brawly has in the movie, but he doesn't have like the same form that they have in Dragon Ball GT. But I'm kind of wondering if that was them kind of hinting that we might be actually seeing Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Super later on down the line, which would be kind of interesting. I thought, so there were like actually, I think GameTube 101 said that there were like 40 Easter eggs in this film, which wouldn't surprise me because I already noticed like a few of them, like watching it, like a lot of the similar characteristics to a lot of similar things that happened in the original Brawly film. Like one of the things brought up, which I also kind of noticed during the trailer, is there's like the scene where Brawly's just dragging Goku's face against the mountain and just like sliding it, like leaving a huge mark on the mountain and all that. And it was exactly like in the movie when he does that exact thing to Gohan. So I don't know if that was meant to be like a reference or just. But it was pretty cool. It's what it reminded me of, anyways. Like whether or not it was intentional.
A little disappointed that all of them have the same entrance. What did you think though? Actually, this is the big question I needed to ask you, and I'm kind of glad I saved it towards the end as we're kind of wrapping up my thoughts. So you being like not familiar with Dragon Ball, were you like lost at any point? Like, were you just like, what the fuck is going on? I wouldn't say I was lost, but for like the first half, I'm just kind of like, I don't care about anything going on here.
Oh, okay.
I know who these characters are, but I don't know them well enough to actually I'm not interested in what's going on.
It's funny because I was like thinking for the first half, like it was interesting how they retold the Saiyan origins that we were kind of already familiar with, but they did it in a way that kind of by giving you information about things that we already knew, like the Scouters and how those work.
The origin part I was actually a little interested in. Just I'm like, so this is the setup for everything.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, that's why I wanted to ask for you. I wanted to ask you because I was like curious what it was like watching that, like knowing nothing about Dragon Ball and what you thought of that kind of added bit. Because it almost felt like the first the very beginning of the movie was like trying to like catch up people who have never seen the show and like let you know, okay, so this is the basic rundown of everything, of how everything works. So I thought it was really cool. I was just so that's why I was curious what people who don't watch just the show thought of it.
Yeah, I never got lost. I just tended not to care. I mean, there also were a lot of things that like everyone reacted to, and I'm like, I don't know why this is significant, but okay.
Oh yeah, no, like okay, so the biggest one that was so funny, and And Megan like actually whispered in my ear like, "Why is everyone cheering?" Was when you see Vegeta, with the red hair go Super Saiyan God. Yeah, that's the first time in the anime. It's happened in the manga, but in the anime, that's the first time we've actually seen him do that in the anime. So that's why everyone was cheering for that, because that was like something we haven't seen before. And man, they pulled it off. It looked cool. Yeah, it's also kind of funny, like, how in Dragon Ball Super, essentially, like, the whole purpose of Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue is that you can use so much energy, but it also doesn't, like, take up too much energy to get to it. It's basically supposed to help you, like, not overuse, to help you keep all the power that you're using and, like, make it so you're not just, like, wasting all the ones that you don't use, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
The only time, like, you'll get drained from using it is, it's kind of like a phone. When, how, like, when you turn a phone on and off, like, you'll notice, like, 10% of the battery is, like, already gone out because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically going to the form. It does take up a lot of energy, but that's it. It was kind of funny, though, but in the anime, though, they usually are able to go to the form like that, like, "Bruh!" But I like how in this movie, because they just, they had a huge budget and they wanted to show it off by, like...
They want to be really flashy.
So they, they show them, like, all the transformations in this movie looked a lot flashier than they normally would have been, but I kind of like that, honestly.
It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Everything they tried to make look really good in this movie did look really good.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with the CGI too, at least during the battle sequences. I mean, outside of the battle sequences, it was okay, like it did, but it didn't stand out, but it definitely wasn't. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad, but then like during the battle sequences, it just looked really cool.
I'll say this, like, I liked it a lot more than the last two, because the last two, my problem was how much it stood out when they weren't using it with like, the ships and everything. Like, when they used it with the ships, it makes sense, but when they weren't, it just, the transition from 2D to 3D didn't look good at all with the other two movies. But for this one, it's like you could notice it, but it didn't stick out as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In Resurrection F, it was very obviously a money saving thing.
Yeah.
You like, they would have all the Frieza soldiers all in a very mathematical formation, which I guess which I'm sure would make sense in general. There are soldiers, and then they're all doing the exact same thing, which again would make sense, but it just like made it more like, oh, you're just copied animation nodes over.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I agree. But yeah, here it's like both the ships and the fight scenes. The CG I thought actually was pretty impressive. So scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
Overall, a 6 or a 7, but the fight scene like an 8 or a 9.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Me and this.
Honestly, the low rating mainly being I don't know who these characters are.
Yeah, I figured. Man, for me, I just the fan of me is just wanting to give this like a 9.5 out of 10, because it's definitely for me my new favorite Dragon Ball movie. So yeah, it's definitely for me a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I freaking loved every moment of it. So yeah, those are our thoughts on the movie. What did you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. And you know what? Since we have another round going, let's just keep playing. Yeah.
YouTube used to have cutoff prevention. I haven't seen anyone do that in a long time, but here's ours.
Yeah.
Remember to stay smart. Remember to sit here and watch this while you comment, subscribe, like, follow our Twitter, our Instagram, follow us at our houses.
Don't do that.
Buy us stuff, find our P.O. box, send us a ton of free money. Buy us a P.O. box. We don't actually have one. You can buy one for us.
Yes, all like 1 or 7 viewers that we have. Please do this.
Buy us a P.O. box, then send stuff to that P.O. box.
Just watch, just like we only have one viewer, but that viewer is just like such a big fan, he does all that we just said.
Just for some reason buys us a P.O. box and starts sending us a bunch of like movies and like, hey, you should review these. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's not nice. but can I turn him into chocolate?
I wonder how often we'll be able to find a video game to relate to a movie we're reviewing.
I don't know. Is there a Split video game currently out? Because that's probably going to be our next movie review. I assume so.
Well, what video game would go with Split?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I guess any superhero...
Street Fighter.
I guess a superhero game in general would go with it.
Mainly just because the Beast is making me think of Blanca right now.
Okay, I can see that.
Although I don't know how the rest of that would work in. Part of that, too, is we're playing a tournament fighter, so...
For How to Train Your Dragon, we just use, like, Skyrim.
Yeah?
That would probably work. Because I think... when does that movie come out? I'm really looking forward to that.
I can't remember. But yeah, that... I'm a little skeptical just because... I don't know, the premise seems pretty basic.
Well, it's literally like kind of a retread of the second one.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like, I didn't expect the second one to be good either, but the second one was great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but maybe they'll surprise me, maybe this will also be amazing.
Hopefully.
That's another one, the Missing Link, like, if it wasn't by however you pronounce Laika Productions, I wouldn't care at all. Because it just looks dumb. But
the company's so good.
Yeah, I've seen two of their movies, Coraline and...
oh, wait, that's the company? I thought it was the one that does Wallace and Gromit.
I mean, it said Laika.
I thought that was...
No, because I know they did hold on, now I gotta look this up. I mean, this is all padding anyway, so...
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that they did the Coraline and something in the Two Strings, which were
Kubo and the Two Strings, which was really good. And they also did Paranorman, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, did they?
Movie.
Okay.
Yeah, Paranorman was a great movie.
Laika is a dog breed. Fun fact.
Interesting.
They look kind of like a terrier. Or maybe I'm just... there we go, Laika Productions. Yeah, they did Coraline. And they did Corpse Bride, interesting.
Oh, so it is that company.
And Box Trolls.
Oh, yeah, Box Trolls.
And Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Wow, they did a lot. I thought they were more recent.
Okay.
But they did. But yeah, I've seen Corpse Bride was fantastic. Kubo and the Two Strings was really good. Coraline was great. Box Trolls was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought kind of the same thing with that movie. It's like the premise for it was really dumb, but it ended up actually kind of surprising me.
Box Trolls.
Yeah.
I love the ending where it's just where they break the fourth wall. It's just like, oh yeah, this it takes a lot to animate things. Oh, so you mean I could keep doing this? Like, no, stop that. That's taking hours.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, so that was our Saturday morning review thing. We may or may not stick to this format of doing Let's Plays while reviewing, but we'll wait and see. Yeah. Huh? It's
making you pick.
Oh, I have to pick. Oh. But our next movie is Split. And for those of you who do not know, I think M. Night Shyamalan is a good director until he decides to not be a good director.
I still need to see Unbreakable.
Oh, yeah, you should definitely watch that before watching...
No, yeah, I realized I really shouldn't watch Glass yet, because I haven't seen Unbreakable.
I also just realized I kept saying Split, and I meant to say Glass.
Oh, yeah, I need to watch Unbreakable first.
Yes, you do. So, sorry, this whole time...
Split initially meant nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the Unbreakable world.
It's like, oh shit, no way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, no, because I loved Unbreakable, and Split was a real surprise for me. I actually really enjoyed it.
I like Split, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the movie he did before. What was it? The one where the kids go see the grandparents. Like, I thought the twist was...
Ah, shit, I can't remember what the name was. I wanted to see that, and then... Actually, no, it was the other way. I didn't want to see that, and then, like, people started reviewing it, and I was like, oh, this actually sounds pretty good. But then I just never bothered.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the twist was kind of creative. Other than that, I wasn't a fan. The kids were really annoying in it, and I think that's what kind of annoyed me the most about the movie. Interesting fact about the character you're playing as. I love his concept where he can freeze time, but only for like a half a second. But the thing about Dragon Ball Z fighters is that they're so fast that a half a second is like essentially like a full few seconds to set up your next attack. Because they fight so fast that they have to learn to think that fast, basically.
The idea of freezing time for a period of time just seems very odd to me.
Yeah.
Like, if you've frozen time, how do you know how much time has passed? Like, the obvious answer is it just goes by how much time you've experienced.
Yeah, basically.
Because you're not frozen. But still, it just... it doesn't seem right. Freezing time for a specific period of time just doesn't seem right.
I can see why. But it's like really funny. One of the coolest highlights of Dragon Ball Super was like, so Goku combines like Super Saiyan Blue with another technique called the Kaioken, which for like a small amount of time increases his power times 10. The catch is that the longer he does it, the more damage it does to himself, so he can't keep doing that for too long. What I love though is when he's fighting Hit with that move, he's going like Kaioken times 10. Goku ends up thinking so fast that basically that split second is useless for Hit. Yeah.
What if they did the fusion, Goku and Vegeta, and then they went Super Saiyan Blue, and then they did Kaioken?
That would be cool to see. Alright, see you guys next week for Mr. Glass.
Stay smart.
Stay smart.